I love that. And man, I love when I saw the release of the record Jekyll and Hyde, you had me chuckling because I understand there's probably a tongue-in-cheek message in the title of this album, right? Kind of
Oh
the
yeah,
two sides of who Whey Jennings is. Was that meant to be that way?
it was. That's why we called it Jekyll and Hyde because it encapsulates my entire life, man. I was on
Yeah.
the wrong side, now I'm on the right side, and I still ain't afraid to sing about the wrong side because it's all a part of me. You got to own who you were and what you did. So that's what I did. I took what I knew about myself and what I knew would relate to other people, regardless of what stage in their life they're at, and I threw it all out there for everybody to understand me on.
Yeah, the lyrics on the record, man. If people are paying close attention to those lyrics, you're going to learn a lot biographically about who Whey is. I feel
Mhm.
there's a lot of little sneak peeks in there of who you are, and I love that lyrically, man. I saw on your website some words that really stuck with me. The quote is "modern day approach" unquote to songwriting, and I really wanted to chat with you about those three words, modern day approach. What does that mean to you?
That means that I want to take old school music and make people today understand it. You know what I mean? Because I know what I like in music. I know what feeling I'm looking for. And I know that that feeling is not something that's easily found anymore. Because man, this is the thing. When it comes to music, people always want to make their own music and make their own art and be their own selves. And we make a mistake of disregarding a lot of things from the past just because of that one thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But
Yep.
there's so much in the past that is so good that to leave that behind is a disservice to the world. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? It really is. Like you remember back in the 50s, that feel good rock and roll music, you know what I mean?
Rockabilly, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was something,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of time frames in there that did something great with music that we feel like we don't need to do anymore. And I just
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like that's the truth. If you
And
want
that's
to
where
get
your
across,
family's roots are at too, man. Buddy Holly and
yeah,
that Lubbock sound that came out of there. That really edgy rock and roll that man, kids today don't even know what that's about, man. When I
yeah,
saw
but
those words,
if
yeah,
they hear it, they do. When they hear it, they're
absolutely.
like, "What is that?"
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like
Man,
so.
like when Buddy Holly is standing on the Apollo, right? Like, let's talk about that. Like, this little nerdy kid with glasses and bringing his music to the Apollo, like that's that Lubbock sound that Way I feel is talking about right here. That edgy rock and roll, rockabilly kind of vibe to music. When I saw modern day approach, I felt like a lot of people could see those words and get a technological meaning from it, right? Like the technology is better and all of that. But I knew it had to be more emotional for you, right? Like more the truth behind the music, the emotions in it, the feel of the music, rather than upgrading just the sound or the technology or the equipment, right?
Exactly. I mean, I believe that music should be pure as it can possibly be. Now, I'm not taking anything away from anybody who's using technology in music.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
Way I feel about it is every artist out there creates their art their own way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If that's the step, myself, the way I create art is I like that full band sound. I like the sound of a bass guitar. I like the sound of a set of drums, and I mean a full big old set of drums. I mean, I like that lead guitar. I like steel guitar. I like dobro. I like musical instruments is what
Yeah.
I like. I like the way it sounds. I like how pure it sounds, and it's something that I don't want my kids to go without hearing in their lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I feel like there's enough people that are following the way of doing things that's done today. I don't think that it's going to hurt anything for me to continue down the path that the people before me went down,
Yeah.
and make good music the way I feel like it should be made. And I love some of the new stuff. I love a lot of the new stuff. It sounds great, but I just don't want part of our history to go to the wayside. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
like for my kids to be able to hear any kind of music they want to hear at any time they want to hear it. And like we can't find 8 tracks and tapes anymore. You know what I mean? All we can find
Reel to
is what
reel.
we
Try to
have.
find a reel to reel nowadays, man, or
I
analog.
know.
Like
And I believe that we ought to be able to find that if we want it. You know what I mean? And that's
Agreed.
just, I just want to make good music with good friends and good music. I mean, I don't want to sit in a room by myself and create music. I want to have a bunch of people
Yeah.
creating music together.
Collaborative, right?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I want.
Man, one thing I
Maybe
love
that's
about you, and we talked about this a little bit back in the day, right, is just kind of how you've always wanted to keep your sound and your performances kind of edgy, almost unpolished in a way.
mhm.
You know, just I don't want to say unprofessional, but definitely not overly produced or whatever. That's always been on your mindset, right? When it comes to, especially in the studio, I would feel, right?
Exactly. I mean, the thing about it is you can add too much to a song and lose it. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
It only needs what it needs. It's kind of like cooking a meal. You got to follow the recipe.
Hmm.
You start adding a bunch of junk to the recipe, you're going to end up with a big pile of mush. You
Hmm.
know, it's just all there is to it.
And you don't
And
want
it's
to
going to
lose the
cost you
feel
more
either.
money to make the
Yeah.
mush.
Agreed. Yeah. Losing the feel is going to be horrible when it comes to creating art for real. Um,
Mhm.